Do you ever look at your day and just feel like modern life is this exhausting, endless checklist of plans and goals and
Oh, the low-grade anxieties,
yeah,
constantly.
right. It's like you wake up, you optimize your morning routine, you drink your green
You
juice.
hustle for that promotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You stress about your 5-year plan, and then by the time you finally get to bed, I mean, if you can even shut your brain off enough to sleep, you are just dreading the alarm clock so you can do it all over again.
Yeah, the modern pursuit of having it all, of constantly progressing, is just incredibly draining.
It really is.
We are effectively running on a treadmill of, like, continuous striving.
Yeah.
Society has collectively decided that if we just push a little harder or, plan a little better,
Optimize every single second of our day.
exactly, that we will eventually catch up to this mythical future state of happiness.
Yeah.
The baseline assumption is really that peace has to be earned through relentless effort.
Well, today we are questioning that entire baseline assumption. We are doing a deep dive into a translated 2018 text by an author named Shifeng. It is titled The Way of Nature, or in Chinese, Ziran Ji Dao. And this text, it basically proposes that the secret to a perfect life, to actual profound peace, involves doing the exact opposite of everything hustle culture demands of us.
It's a total paradigm shift. The author provides a philosophical roadmap that completely inverts how we typically think about ambition and, well, daily living.
Yeah.
It challenges the very foundation of how we structure our lives, suggesting that our constant desire to control our circumstances is the literal engine of our misery.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this roadmap. We want to explore what it actually means to follow this concept of the Tao in our daily lives and understand how letting go of our obsession with artificial control might just be the ultimate life hack for reaching higher states of consciousness.
And we should probably clarify for the listener.
Oh, yeah. Just to set the tone for you listening right now, this isn't an audio textbook.
Right, right.
We are taking an ancient-sounding philosophy and applying it directly to our very modern, very stressed-out ambitions. We're going to look at the mechanics of this text, how it works, and, what it asks of us.
Because the contrast between the philosophy presented in this source material and our modern reality is incredibly sharp.
Yeah.
The text doesn't offer, like, mild lifestyle suggestions like taking a walk on Sundays. It presents a completely divergent way of interacting with reality itself.
Okay, let's unpack this. The text starts by defining what it calls the way of nature. And Wefeng explicitly links this to the way of what he calls the greatest creator.
Yes.
He describes nature as the laws, the principles, and the original operating programs of the boundless universe. And I mean, he makes a massive promise right out of the gate.
He really does.
The text claims this main path, the Tao, is easy to walk on, smooth and soothing. But if you go against it, it guarantees a path that is complicated, difficult, torturous, and painful.
That dichotomy is central to the entire document. The author frames this not as some gentle spectrum, but as a very clear fork in the road.
Right.
You are either aligning with these universal principles or you are fighting them tooth and nail. There is no middle ground where you can, hustle just a little bit.
The way I was reading this, I kept thinking about computers.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, how is following the Tao essentially just running the universe's default operating system? Like it's the clean, out-of-the-box software that runs flawlessly because it was designed by the manufacturer to be perfectly efficient.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Whereas going against the Tao is like constantly trying to install glitchy third-party mods and background apps and productivity trackers.
Drain the battery?
Yes. They drain the battery, overheat the processor, and eventually crash your entire computer.
What's fascinating here is that analogy captures the mechanics perfectly, because the text specifically warns against, and I'm quoting directly here, artificially interfering and changing the universe's original operating programs.
Yeah.
It really targets human hubris. We look at the natural flow of things, whether that is our career trajectory, our relationships, or our personal growth, and we think we can optimize it.
We think our little third-party app is smarter than the default code of the cosmos.
Exactly. We believe we can force a process to happen faster if we just apply enough willpower. We constantly try to mod the universe's baseline code.
Yeah, and then we wonder why we crash.
Right. The author asserts that this artificial interference is the root of human suffering. When you try to rewrite the fundamental laws and principles of the boundless universe to suit your personal timeline or your ego, you inevitably experience intense friction.
Because the universe is just too big to be modded like that.
Exactly. The universe is massive. Your third-party mod is going to crash your system long before it bends the universe to your will. The text advocates for stripping away that human hubris and just returning to the baseline code.
Okay, but that brings us to a really practical question. If there are these two paths, the smooth default OS and the glitchy, painful, modded version, how do you know which one you are currently running?
Good question.
Because I don't think anyone wakes up on a Tuesday morning and says, I think I'm going to consciously choose the torturous and painful path today.
No, of course not.
Ah,
We usually think we are doing the right thing by trying so hard.
exactly. So how is this measured in our daily experience?
The text provides a very direct litmus test for this.
Right.
And interestingly, it is not based on your bank account, your physical health, or your job title.
Yeah.
No, the indicator is entirely based on your internal emotional state.
Oh, wow. So the author says that if you feel happy, free, and blessed, you are on the path. But if you feel troubled, anxious, or full of sorrow, you are actively walking against it.
Precisely. The emotional state isn't just a byproduct. It is the dashboard indicator light telling you how your engine is running.
So if you are anxious, your check engine light is flashing.
Yes. And the method the text gives to stay on this path, to keep that indicator light green, is starkly simple.
Oh, I know this part. It says, eat when you should eat, sleep when you should sleep, do when you should do, and die when you should die.
It reduces human existence to its most fundamental biological and natural rhythms, essentially stripping away every layer of complexity we usually add to survival.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, because I read that line, eat when you should eat and sleep when you should sleep, and my first reaction was that it sounds almost insultingly obvious.
It does sound a bit basic at first glance.
Right, of course you sleep when you were supposed to sleep. But then I think about you, the listener, and I think about my own life. Why is it so incredibly hard for us to just do the basic things when we're supposed to?
Well,
Like, why are we doom scrolling at 2 a.m. instead of sleeping? Why do we work through our lunch breaks? Why is the obvious so immensely difficult in practice?
it's because humans possess this unmatched ability to complicate simple biological imperatives.
We really do.
We do not just eat right. We implement restrictive diets. We intermittent fast to hack our metabolism. We eat out of sheer stress, or we eat while staring at spreadsheets.
Or we eat when we're not even hungry because it's like a social obligation at a networking event.
Exactly. And we do not just sleep. We push through our natural fatigue with copious amounts of caffeine to hit a manufactured deadline. Or we lie awake agonizing over a conversation we had 3 years ago.
Ah, yes.
We override our natural signals constantly in the name of productivity or anxiety.
We are constantly putting a piece of tape over the dashboard indicator lights so we don't have to look at them.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And this tendency connects to a core concept the text highlights, which is wu-wei.
Okay, let's talk about Wu Wei.
It translates roughly to doing nothing as everything will eventually fall into place.
Now wait. To a modern, productivity-obsessed mind, doing nothing triggers immediate alarm bells. It sounds like pure laziness.
Right. It sounds like giving up.
It sounds like you are just lying on the couch waiting for a sandwich to magically assemble itself and float into your mouth.
And that is a very common misunderstanding of the concept. The text explains wu-wei as taking things as they are, associating with others by following predestined relations, and taking advantage of opportunities as they arise naturally.
So it's not laziness.
Not at all. It is a highly advanced state of surrender. It requires immense active discipline to not interfere, to not force an outcome. It is about acting in accordance with your nature, rather than acting out of anxiety or societal pressure.
Okay, I need you to explain the mechanics of transitioning to that state. Because if the rules are as simple as sleep when you should sleep, and Wu Wei is just letting things fall into place, how does a person actually do that without their life just, falling apart?
Well, the text details what we are doing wrong, essentially defining what going against the Tao looks like. And it basically holds up a mirror to modern society.
Yeah, the author provides a devastating critique of modern ambition.
Devastating. The text lists the exact inversion of those natural actions.
Yeah.
Eating when you shouldn't eat, insisting on living when you should die. But it goes much deeper into the psychological traps we set for ourselves.
Right. The text lists our specific obsessions. It says we seek success, we look for shortcuts, we want magical powers and miracles.
Yes. the things we constantly chase.
We set goals, we make plans, we insist on glorifying our ancestors, we insist on owning houses and cars. It even says we insist on trying to become a celestial being or a Buddha.
It's all striving.
It sounds like we are meticulously building our own elaborate prisons. In fact, the author literally uses the phrase, get caught in your own trap.
We weave these incredibly complex webs of expectations and desires, chaining our happiness to specific future outcomes, and then we wonder why we feel stuck and miserable in the present moment.
But wait, I have to jump in here and genuinely push back on behalf of anyone listening right now who has a mortgage or a family to feed or a boss demanding a Q3 roadmap. No goals, no plans, no trying to be excellent. For someone listening to this deep dive right now to learn and grow, isn't abandoning all goals entirely counterintuitive to progress?
It certainly sounds like career suicide at first glance.
Exactly. How does Wu Wei actually function in a modern corporate environment? How do you achieve anything if you aren't allowed to seek success or set a plan?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the key is distinguishing between executing a task and attaching your ego to the outcome.
Okay, break that down.
If your boss demands a Q3 roadmap, the action of writing that roadmap is just a task in front of you, doing what you should do. The danger the text points out isn't the acquisition of skills or participating in society.
Then what is it?
The danger lies in the friction of being what the text calls insatiable.
Okay, tell me how that actually works in practice.
Yeah.
How do you write a roadmap without friction?
Let's bring back your computer operating system analogy.
Yeah, let's do that.
When a computer runs a complex calculation, it just runs it. It uses the available RAM, processes the data, and outputs the result.
Right, it's just doing its job.
It doesn't sit there agonizing over whether this calculation will get it a promotion or whether the neighboring server is processing data faster or if it is adequately glorifying its ancestors. The calculation just happens smoothly.
Ah, I see.
In human terms, the text argues that our nonstop, insatiable striving, our desperate need for the roadmap to validate our worth, is the background app that crashes the system. We become impetuous and distracted. The author explicitly states this friction leaves us dogged by bad luck.
Dogged by bad luck. That is such a striking phrase.
It is.
Because when you are forcing things, you are constantly running into walls. You are creating your own bad luck because you are out of sync with the timing of the universe.
Exactly. You send the angry email,
Yeah.
you push the project before it's ready, you alienate your coworkers, and suddenly your project fails.
And you call it bad luck, but really, you force the system.
You are swimming against a very powerful current, exhausting yourself while blaming the water for being too heavy. And notice how the text includes spiritual ambition in this trap, too. The author states that even the desperate pursuit of spiritual enlightenment, like forcefully trying to become a celestial being or a Buddha, is going against the Tao.
Oh, wow. So even spiritual goals can be a trap.
If it is a first goal, yes. If it stems from a place of ego and striving, it is just another artificial interference.
So even the goal of becoming enlightened is a trap if you approach it with a hustle culture mindset.
Exactly.
People do this all the time, though. Like, I'm going to meditate harder than anyone else. I'm going to optimize my chakras, and I'm going to hack my way to nirvana.
It's rampant.
That is exactly the kind of glitchy mod we were talking about earlier. You are still trying to force the system, just with a different aesthetic.
You are still caught in your own trap. The insistence, the nonstop striving, is the mechanism of your suffering, regardless of whether you are striving for a luxury car or a state of zen. The underlying anxiety is identical.
Okay, so the text clearly lays out our behavioral choices. Follow the natural rhythm or force our plans and goals.
Right.
And it lays out the immediate emotional friction. You are either going to feel peace or you're going to be anxious and dogged by bad luck. But what are the ultimate cosmic stakes of making these choices?
Well, the source material takes a sudden, fascinating turn here.
It really does. It moves away from purely philosophical advice and introduces a literal numerical measurement for your spiritual destination.
Yes. This is where the author makes a significant leap from abstract principles to quantifiable metaphysics, really defining the ultimate consequences of our actions.
So what does this all mean?
Right.
Because the text explicitly outlines the ultimate benefits versus the ultimate consequences. If you follow nature, the benefits are calmness, health, and what it calls less sin.
Yes.
But if you go against it, the consequences are being distracted, dogged by bad luck, and, this is a heavy phrase, committing evil again and again. And then it uses the Hawkins energy and emotion hierarchy diagram to quantify this.
The introduction of the Hawkins scale is a fascinating structural choice by the author. It takes a traditional Eastern philosophical concept like the Tao and overlays a very specific modern Western framework.
Yeah, let's pause and really explain this for the listener, because reading a 2018 text about ancient Taoism that suddenly drops a 1990s New Age metric is quite the pivot.
It definitely is.
What exactly does this scale measure, and how does Feng use it here?
Okay, so for context, the Hawkins scale comes from Dr. David Hawkins, who published a book in 1995 called Power versus Force. He created a logarithmic map of human consciousness on a scale from 1 to 1,000.
Okay, 1 to 1,000.
Hawkins proposed that different human emotions calibrate at specific energetic frequencies. At the very bottom of the scale, calibrating around 20 or 30, you have shame and guilt.
The really heavy stuff.
Right. Moving up, around 175, you have pride. The critical crossover point on this scale is 200, which represents courage, the shift from destructive, negative energy to positive, constructive energy.
Got it.
At 500, you hit love. At 540, you reach joy and unconditional peace. And up near 700 to 1,000 is enlightenment.
Okay, so Feng adopts this exact mathematical framework to quantify the stakes of following the Tao.
Exactly.
The author says that following nature results in an energy level above 540, which earns you a place in heaven. But going against the Tao drops your energy level below 200, which guarantees your destination is in the animal world, or hell.
This raises an important question.
Yeah.
We have to look at how Feng is fusing these frameworks. According to his specific worldview, he is inextricably linking our daily, mundane choices to our ultimate cosmic fate.
Right.
By applying the Hawkins scale, he's asserting that your daily emotional state isn't just a fleeting feeling, it is a rigid calculation of your spiritual worth.
So stressing over your 5-year plan or being miserable about your lack of a nice car isn't just a psychological issue you can work out in therapy. No. In the author's framework, that anxiety literally lowers your quantifiable consciousness level below 200.
Yes. The text argues that when you act against nature, when you force your will upon the universe out of greed, anxiety, or insatiable ambition, you are operating at a fundamentally low frequency.
You're pulling yourself down.
You are existing in a state of fear, anger, or pride. And according to this synthesis of the Tao and the Hawkins scale, operating at that low frequency anchors your consciousness to lower realms of existence.
The animal world or hell.
Right. The author's metaphysical claim is that this behavior draws you downward.
Whereas taking the path of wu-wei, of true surrender and peace, elevates your frequency above 540, you become aligned with the higher operating system of the universe, and the author states your destination becomes heaven.
Which completely raises the stakes.
It makes the stakes of your daily stress incredibly high. Every time you get road rage because you are late for a meeting that you tried to aggressively plan for, you aren't just having a bad morning.
Exactly. In this text view, you are actively choosing a lower spiritual destination.
Oh, wow.
It completely redefines the concept of sin, or committing evil.
Yeah.
In the context of this document, evil isn't necessarily a grand malicious act of violence.
Then what is it?
Evil is the accumulated friction of constantly rejecting the natural flow of the universe. It is the arrogance of believing your artificial plans are superior to the original operating programs of the boundless universe. That arrogance is what drops your energy level.
Which brings us all the way back to that exhausting checklist we started the show with.
Full circle.
The optimized mornings, the 5-year plans, the relentless hustle. The text is effectively telling us that all of that modern ambition is not just tiring, it is spiritually destructive.
It is the very definition of artificially interfering.
Let's distill the core takeaways here, because we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
The way of nature, as laid out by Feng, isn't about learning complex rituals or, adding more habits to your day. It is the profound, radical surrender of our artificial plans, our forced goals, and our insatiable anxieties.
And the success of that surrender isn't measured by external achievements. It is measured simply by your inner peace, your joy, and ultimately where your energetic consciousness calibrates on that scale. It is about removing the friction.
We want to challenge you, the listener, to audit your own life right now. Think about the day you just had or the day you were about to have.
Take a real look at it.
Where are you currently insisting on a house and a car, or stressing about glorifying your ancestors, whatever that modern equivalent looks like for your career and your ego?
Are you doing that at the cost of your natural operating program?
Are you remembering to simply eat when you should eat and sleep when it is time to sleep?
It is a profound call to observe your own internal mechanics. Look for the places in your life where you are trying to force the river to flow faster. And ask yourself if that effort is actually serving you or just draining your battery.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought based on this source text, something for you to mull over after this deep dive ends. The text strictly advises us to die when you should die, and explicitly warns against insisting on living when you shouldn't. The author calls the insistence on living a trap that lowers your energy level and sets you against the Tao.
That specific instruction is perhaps the most challenging aspect of this entire philosophy for a modern, Western-leaning audience to digest.
Definitely.
It runs counter to all of our medical and technological instincts.
So here's the question for you to explore on your own. If the ultimate goal of the Tao is absolute surrender to natural timing, does our constant modern pursuit of extending our lifespans, all of our extreme anti-aging routines, our relentless biohacking,
The ice baths and supplements?
yes, all of that, our insistence on fighting mortality at every conceivable turn, does all of that actually guarantee we'll end up spiritually in the animal world,
Hmm.
simply because we aggressively refuse to accept our natural expiration date?
When you view the multi-billion-dollar modern biohacking industry through the lens of Shuofeng's text, it looks like the ultimate form of artificial interference.
It really does.
It forces a deeply uncomfortable question about where human beings should draw the line between natural healing and sheer hubris.
It really makes you reconsider what we are fighting so hard for and what that fight is costing us beneath the surface.
It asks us to consider if our absolute desperation for more time is actually destroying the quality of our consciousness.
Something to think about the next time you are agonizing over an elaborate morning routine or, forcing yourself through another day of the hustle. Maybe it's time to just let the universe run its default code.